Tetzaveh. ברוכים הבאים רבותיי. ואתה תצווה בני ישראל. Command Bnei Israel. The Baal Purim points out that since the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu is mentioned, his name is mentioned in every parsha since his birth, except for this parasha. Moshe Rabbeinu stood up for Klal Yisrael like a real leader. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said he's going to wipe out the nation, or he threatened to wipe out the nation, because he wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to react, and so he did. He said, Mecheni na mesifrecha, Hashem, erase me from your holy book. If you're going to destroy Klal Yisrael, erase me from your holy books. And the Baal Purim brings the Gemara Masechet Makot, says, Klalat Chacham, that a curse of a Chacham, afilu al t'nai ba'a v'nitkayem ba, that even if it's on condition, and even if that condition is fulfilled, what he said goes. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu carried out what Moshe Rabbeinu said, Macheni na, erase me from your book. And there's a parasha in this holy book, and the holy Torah Kedosha, that Moshe Rabbeinu is erased from, it's not mentioned. Another reason why his name is not mentioned in this parasha is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu that I want you to go be the spokesman for Klal Yisrael. When you go down to Mitzrayim, I want you to go to be the one to speak to Paro. Moshe Rabbeinu begged, not me, I have a speech impediment. When I was a little kid, I put coal in my mouth. Right, I burnt my tongue. I can't speak so well, and he pushed for Aaron. But he pushed for Aaron, he lost his position. Really, Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to be Kohen. He was supposed to be the Kohen. The legacy of Kohanim was supposed to come out of him. But instead, it diverted to his brother. It didn't listen to Hashem when Hashem pushed him to be the speaker for Klal Yisrael, even though you have a speech impediment. Hashem puts you in a position regardless of what your challenges are. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't take it. So Aaron got it. So since it talks about Bigdei Kahuna in this parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu says the Baal Tur, Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned. Says Ve'ela b'gadim asher yasu. These are the clothes that you make for the Kohen Gadol. You have to make a choishen. A choishen is the plate. Oh look, we have images over here, right? That's the choishen is the Urim v'Tumim. We have the ephod, which was like it goes above everything, above the me'il and above the kutonet. You have the me'il, which is the jacket, which will explain the kutonet is under that. You have the mitznefet, is the hat. The avnet is the belt. You have the tzitz, is the thing on the forehead. There are different items that you have to make. So the Kli Yakar brings the Gemara in Erchin. The Gemara in Masechet Erchin says, Lama nismecha Nismechu korbanot Bigdei Kahuna. Now, why does it talk about the Bigdei Kahuna, the clothes of the Kohen, and then it talks about korbanos? Right after that, we're going to see it talks about korbanot. And he says the reason why they're next to each other is to teach you that just like korbanos brings a kapara, so do Bigdei Kahuna bring a kapara. That every article of clothing that the Kohen was wearing was mechaper for something else. Every part of it was mechaper. See, in Klal Yisrael, we do a lot of these outward actions and functions and different things, but Rahman Ali Babai, Kadosh Baruch Hu wants our heart. That as much as we're doing things, it depends where your heart is, and that's what Hashem wants. You could bring a carbon, you have the wrong thought, it's not good. You're doing all the actions. You brought the animal, you walked up the mountain barefoot, you went to the Kohen, you spent some money, you had the wrong machshava, it's not good. It's not good. It's about Hashem wants your heart. And so too with Begadim. The Kohen's wearing Begadim, he's wearing clothes, but there's something much deeper there. Something much deeper that's going on. And he says, and he goes through that the Choshen is Mechaper and Dinim, the Choshen which is, we use for the Urim v'Tumim for Din, and that's Mechaper for injustice. If somebody had a wrong judgment, or there was something that was wrongfully carried out, that's Mechaper. The Ephod is Mechaper and Avodah Zarah. That's like the apron that he wore on top, and we'll explain why. The me'il, the jacket, is mechaper on lashon hara. The kutonet is mechaper on shvichus damim, on murder. The mitznefet, the hat, is mechaper on gasut haroch, arrogance. The avnet, the belt, is mechaper on hirhu alev, bad thoughts. The tzitz that goes on the forehead is mechaper on azus metzach, brazenness. Somebody who acts brazenly. The mechnasam is mechaper on gilur rayas. And so each part, the mechsam is the pants, each part of the Bigdei Kahuna is mechaper on something else. So first Hashem says, Vasu ta'efod, everybody has to make the ephod. Now it's an interesting, in all other places it says Vasita, you shall make. Over here it says Vasu. Everybody has to be involved in making the ephod. The ephod which is right here. This over here is mechaper on avodah zarah. Avodah zarah, it says vasu. Everybody was involved in chet ha'egel, so to speak. It was on everybody's shoulders. So everybody had to be involved in making the ephod because everybody already was guilty of the chet ha'egel, which is avodah zarah. So everybody needed a kapara right away, and therefore everybody had to have some sort of involvement in the. I'm sorry.
Besides the Levim.
Right, but it was a community. It was for everybody, and also some. Right, Levim had to kill other Levim also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Milah Hashem Elai was a much tougher song than we know it. Right, but it was the klal as a whole needed that kapara. It had to be made maseh choshev. Choshev is a type of weaving, but it's an allusion to thought. Like we were saying, you could do all the maisim for avodah zarah as well, but it's the thought behind it. That a person's thought weighs out so much heavier. The thought behind the avodah zarah is much more intense than the actual ma'aseh itself. Unless you're murdering or killing, whatever it is that you're doing for the avodah zarah. But the thought is the machshava that a person's having. It's all about the thought. In life, it's all about the. Even let's say lahavdil, somebody's by accident chas v'shalom mechal Shabbos, right? So we know there's a difference between shogeg and mezid, and not everybody fully understands shogeg. Shogeg means that I knew it's Shabbos, I didn't know this malachas asur, or that I knew this malachas asur, I didn't know it was Shabbos today. That's a shogeg. You have something that's misasek, you can just like walk by and like fall into a light. That's not shogeg. That's something else. Right? So it depends on the level, and somebody does something b'mezid, you're dead. Shogeg is a carbon, misasek is yidu tshuva. The same action happened, but it's all about the thought. What was behind it? Right? You could send a mass text, right before Yom Kippur, really sorry, please forgive me. And you see Santa, 2,000 people, like, okay, very nice. Or one note with 2 words, I'm sorry. And it's like changes the world because it's very touching. It's like something that's personal, came from a real place. Right? Because Baruch Hu wants your heart. So a person who's involved with these Ma'aseh Choshev, therefore comes to Mechaper for Avodah Zarah because it's a pgam in your emunah. It all started in your emunah. Somebody did avodah zarah. He had a hit in his emunah, and therefore he needed a kapara for his thought. A kapara for his thought. So it had to be a ma'aseh choshev that everybody was involved in. Velakachta avnei shoham. The shoham stones are these 2 stones on the shoulders of the Kohen Gadol. On one of them it had 6 of the shvatim. On the other one it had the other 6 of the shvatim. Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain and he smashed the luchos. When he smashed the luchos, Rabbeinu Bechai says that smashed 4 things. It made 4 things separate. What are the 4 things that separated? Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem, the luchos, and Klal Yisrael. Right? Whoosh, like there was a pirud there. Like boom. Right? He smashed the luchot. The luchot got smashed. Hashem, everything just got discombobulated. The Avnei Shoam come to be mechaper that. There's 2 stones, right? One represents one side of the tablets, the other represents the other side of the tablets. Those are 2 stones. The tablet, right? The two tablets. The 2 stones represent the 2 tablets. Shoham, Shin, Hey, Mem is the name Moshe, same letters as Moshe. Shin, Hey, Mem is also the same letters as Hashem. And on the 2 stones were inscribed all the shvatim of Klal Yisrael. So that was a kapara for the Shviat Luchot that brought everything back. That the 4 things that got separated from that episode, everything came back from there.
What was the Luchot?
Shoham, the Luchot, the 2 tablets.
Oh.
It's Shtei Luchot. With all 12 shvatim, that's Klal Yisrael. Shoham is the same letters as Hashem and the same letters as Moshe. That's Rabbeinu Bechai. Rabbeinu Bechai says that. Then we move on to the Asita Choshen Mishpat Maaseh Choshev. So the Choshen came to Mechaper on bad dinim. People make bad judgments. Now a judge could hide anything, anytime. Without Yiras Shamayim, we live in a world. If the judge doesn't have Yiras Shamayim, what's holding them back from doing anything? A judge could divert a justice. We see stuff going on all the time that are very inconsistent in the world. Nothing stopping anybody from doing anything unjust except for the person's morale. And everybody's morale has a gather. Unless you know that you're going to have to give din and cheshbon to Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So there's no yira. And a person can judge what they want to judge, and a person can accept a few $1 million. There are things that are out in the open that people are being swayed, and people are always bought all the time. Even in little businesses and little things, people give out little stuff to persuade you to take them for the business. give out season tickets, they give out different things, let alone in bigger and more scarier episodes. The Maaseh Choshev that comes with the Choshen also has to be with thought, because only a Kadosh Baruch Hu knows a person's thought. And that represents by the Choshen, that represents judgment. Right? The Urim v'Tumim gave us judgment, and therefore we needed a kapar for that. So the Me'il came to be Mechaper and Lashon Hara. Those who are familiar also with the picture, you have the bottom of the Me'il, there were pomegranates and bells. Right? These little bells made noise. Right? Why did they make noise? When the Kohen Gadol walked around, you heard him. We have the minhag, like the Sefer Torah, right? Some Sefer Torah, they have bells. I think by minhag Ashkenaz, they take the middle part out, the little bell out in the middle for Shabbos, right? Because it makes noise, but it still makes noise. But the idea behind that is that you should hear this a Sefer Torah and get up. Right? That's something, a Sefer Torah is coming, get up. The reason why the Kohen Gadol wore it is to teach you that you don't just barge in on anybody. It's not nice. Even in your own home, you should give a knock before you walk in. You don't just walk into somebody's private, because I don't know, and maybe it's not, maybe you'll do something, but that's not me. You might call me in a moment, but that's not me. And the Kohen Gadol gave you that warning that I'm coming. And it's the Torah teaches us this derech eretz, that you make noise, you make it known, even in your own home. It's like, it's my house, it's my domain. It's like, you give a night, let them know that you're coming. Make some noise. The Kohen Gadol taught us, the Me'il of the Kohen taught us to make noise. So the Me'il is tchelis, is blue. Why is it mechaper and lashon hara? What shaychus? So we know that tchelis doimel yam. The blue represents the yam. What's the yam? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a safa, made a sfas hayam. Maybe that's sfat hayam. What's sfat hayam? Come to sfatayim. A safa is a border. Safa is lips, right? Sfatayim is lips. A safa is a border. Sfatayim is the border of the ocean. In reality, water always flows to the lowest point. Right? You have a roof, you have a leak inside, you'll find the water in the basement. Because water always flows to the lowest point. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a border by the ocean. And the water's told, don't pass this line. You can't go, you'll have waves, you'll have tides, you'll have zachin, but it won't pass the line. We saw a bunch of years ago when HaKadosh Baruch Hu pulled the border out, what happened? The tsunami came, and it just drowned out thousands. Just wiped everything out. Hashem keeps a border, keeps a gvul, ad kan. And we're supposed to learn that the Sfat Hayam, Hashem put a border there, He also put a border in our mouth. And we have two borders in our mouth. We have one made out of stone called teeth, and one made out of lips called flesh. And you have a stone and flesh border to shut your mouth. And the person has to have a border there. And the Me'il has tchelis, is blue, to remind you that the yam, to mimic the ways of the yam, to go in the ways of the water, that there's a gvul, there's a border, and you have to know when to stop. As mechaper, the noise that it makes, the clickety clank as the Kohen Gadol walks, it makes noise. It's mechaper for that chitter chatter. It's mechaper for other things. If taka, the Gemara brings down, if taka, somebody spoke lashon hara and he caused damage, so then he's still going to get sarat. It's not enough of a kapara. It's only when you didn't do damage with your lashon hara you get a kapara. You get a full kapara from the big day kahuna. But you see that the Kohen Gadol is walking with a mission. There's a conviction there. There's a purpose for everything that he's wearing, and that tchelis is a real kapara. That tchelis is a real something to learn, even by tzitzis. Right? You're supposed to have tchelis on your tzitzis, so that takes it up to the next level already. Because yam, right? Tchelis doime layam, v'yam doime to the rakia, to the shemaim, and the shemaim also. You look at the shemaim, and the heavenly spheres don't deviate from the Ratzon Hashem. The heavenly spheres are told what to do, and they don't deviate. The sun is told to rise; it rises. And the sun rises in the morning. It doesn't rise in the morning-ish. You know what I'm saying? You know that Vasikin is 543.2. You can tell what time Vasikin these days, right? 543.2. It doesn't come at 5:45. Like, oh, really sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Right? It comes. It doesn't deviate from the Ratzon Hashem, and we're supposed to have that. We learn from the Yam, we learn from the Rakia and the Kisa Kavod, and it's all a dimyon, because Tchelis doime layam, because Tchelis is blue, right, and Yam is blue. But when you take a cup and you scoop out water from the Yam, it's not blue. And then the Yam is doime rakia, and you look at the rakia like, wow, the Shemaim is blue, but you take a piece out of the rakia, it's not blue. There's a much deeper lesson over there. But the message for us is that we're supposed to follow the ways of Hashem. Not everything is the way you see it. Everything's the way you see it. But it teaches us, to have derech eretz, the way you walk, teaches us it's low to be clickety-clank. It's not to chatter is not a thing. And we should learn from the Me'il also that Hashem runs the world and Hashem is everywhere. Therefore, the Tchilas teaches us that very, very important lesson to have borders, that a person has to have borders. Fine, the tzitz is mechaper and azus. That's Parshat, right? That boldness is on the forehead, the brazenness. Somebody who's brazen, it comes really from, it's in the face, like braised face. Like somebody could have an audacity, it's really coming from the face. So the tzitz puts the Shem Hashem right by the metzach. That Hashem is in front of you all the time. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. That's how Shulchan Aruch starts off in Aruch Chaim. That Hashem is before you all the time. To me, He's always there. Therefore, there's no room for that brazenness. The kutonet, under the Me'il is the kutonet. It's made out of shesh. It says v'shibatzta hakutonet shesh, that you made the kutonet and it's shibatzta and it has like little boxes. It's meshubatz, has boxes made out of shesh. It's like a flax material, and that's coming to be mechaper on shvichus damim. The kutonos is mechaper on shvichus damim. What shaychas to shvichus damim? Yeah.
Yosef.
Very good. Yosef Chazak. The Kliyaka and Uriel say that it's Yosef. That Yosef they dipped Yosef's kutonet, they ripped off his tunic, his kutonas, and they dipped it in blood. They dipped it in blood, right? So that represented Ritzicha. So because he did that, it represented Ritzicha, and therefore the kutonis is something that is mechaper for shvichus damim. And the Kliyaka takes it weiter, and he says, but it didn't only start from Yosef. It started from, what was the first murder in the world? First murder in the world was Cain. Cain killed his brother Hevel. 2 brothers, nobody else. Jealousy is in the world. You could have 2. I remember Shach. He's like 2 brothers in the world and nobody else. And it's Shayach Kina. It's Shayach jealousy. Jealousy killed him. He was jealous. I don't know how far he could walk. Like, what do you want? He killed him out of jealousy. Mekanebo. And he killed his brother because Cain bought a carbon of flax, and it wasn't accepted. So kutonet shesh is made out of flax, and for that ritzicha shesh is also shesh, the number 6, shesh ari miklat, the 6 ari miklat, the 6 cities of refuge where somebody who kills b'shoigig has to run to, and therefore the kutonet is mechaper for such a thing.
That's 40 something, no?
Yeah, but there's 6 main ones. 6 main ones, and then 42. Yeah, the Levite cities. Very good. And then you have the mitznefet. The mitznefet is the head of the Kohen Gadol. Sorry?
Strimel.
The strimel, or the... What was that, no?
This fighting one, the turban.
The turban, thank you. Right, the turban, that's mechaper on gaiva. Right, on gasus ruach. Because natara, that's what a crown does. People wear things on their head. That's what it does. A king wears a crown. He's in a whole different position. And this mitznefet was a form of a crown for the Kohen Gadol, but mechaper anybody who misused that position to feel gaiva. So you see, there's a very, very huge remez in every piece of what the Kohen Gadol is wearing for a form of kapara. It's a form of kapara for all of Klal Yisrael. Not only are korbanot a kapara, only karbanos are kapara, but every item that the Kohen Gadol is wearing is a form of kapara. And then it talks about korbanot, and korbanot we know is milashon korban, and korban is milashon karov, right? It means that epitome of closest, that's how you come close to Hashem. That you bring something from your heart, and everything is meant from your heart. And this is going to lead us on to Purim, because we want to say, and that's Purim, right? But this week's Parshat we have Zechirat Amalek. We have to remember Amalek. Remember, it's funny, we have to remember to erase Amalek. Remember to erase him. Right? So it says, state, Shem'u Amim Yirgaz Ale Shur. Yeah, but we know, we say this in Tefillah, that all the nations heard about Klal Yisrael, and everyone was scared. The people of Pelasha were trembling, they were shaking. As nivhalu alufei Edom, the Edomites were like stunned, they were shocked. Everybody was shaking. Everybody who lived in Canaan melted. Everybody melted. But Amalek wasn't scared. A chutzpan. And Amalek came and he waged a war with Klal Yisrael and Fidim. What in the world just happened over here? So he says a very, very big a big inyan over this. This is Amalek is a soneh gadol. He's a big hater. He's a big hater. We're diametrically, we're total opposites. Kadosh Yisrael Hashem. We're holy to Hashem. And Amalek comes, and Amalek is the extreme opposite. Not only does Amalek come, Yehuda, when does Amalek come? He comes when we're on the way to Matan Torah, right after Kriyat Yam Suf. We're congealing now. Mitzrayim is milashon tsar, right? Going through a narrow way, a narrow. Mitzrayim is milashon tsar, and it was the birth of a nation. That Klal Yisrael we went into Egypt, and we were developing in that womb, and then we had a Yetziah, and then we're forming. A nation is born, and we left Kriyat Yam Suf. Just like the baby leaves the water, right? The baby's in his mother's tummy. It's like in water. There's a Kriyat Yam Suf, and now there's a new beginning over there. And the nation is congealing into something real. It's solidifying. You have water that becomes slush until it solidifies to rock ice. And we're going to be Mekabel the Torah Kedosha, becoming a full nation. And all of a sudden, in between, Amalek comes. And he tries. He knows not to destroy it, but he wants to ruin it. He wants to ruin it for everybody. We have a klal, and this klal is super important. It's good timing. This rule is very, very important. Sure, listen to this rule. If we're mighty inside, then we can't be affected outside. If we're mighty, it says klal Yisrael eitan mibifnim. If we're mighty inside, en puranut ba mibachutz. Nothing outside is going to come rock you at all. If they're mighty inside, what is refidim? The Torah emphasizes that we left refidim. Okay, so Rabbi Chanina asked this question, what does refidim mean? And if Yeshua says, Rifu atzman medivrei Torah, they became weak from divrei Torah. That's a shtickle cop-out. Like what? Yeah. We just, right? I'm asking. We just left Mitzrayim. We just witnessed Esel Makot. Every Makkah was a week, and they had 3 weeks to recover. It was a year episode. We took them down. The Egyptians got eradicated. The mother country of the world just became a flea market, and we left that place with riches she'ein kamohu. We experienced Kriyat Yam Suf, the Anan Hashem, and now it's just like, oh yeah, we lost it. We're not kids anymore. We got to grow up. What does that mean?
I love my Torah. Is that great?
Refune Yadai. It says, yeah, right. But what happened? What does that mean? So we had Refune Yadayim, and then Amalek waged war with us because we had Refune Yadayim. We got weak, and we had Refune Yadayim. What does that mean that we got weak? He says Refune Yadayim is not Bittul Torah. You got to be kidding me. There's something much deeper over there by Melchemes Amalek. Something much, much deeper. It says they call that place Masam Riva, the riv that Klal Yisrael had with Hashem, v'nasotam et Hashem. They tried Hashem to say Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im is Hashem, to explain it Parshat, is Hashem with us or not? But that doesn't make any sense. Because to say Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im ayin, is Hashem with us or not? That's something very funny and very low to say about the Dor Deya. They're called the Dor Deya, the generation that knew. Okay, we're called Ikvis of the Mashiach, right? Chevle Mashiach. You know what a chevel is? Chevel is a rope. Okay, you hold on to the rope for your life, right? The rope, you're holding on. Chevle Mashiach, like the guy who holds on wins. You'll make it through. Hold on. It's called the Dor Deya. A Shivcha saw. I don't know who wasn't, but a Shivcha saw what Yechezkel saw. He saw the Merkava. Everybody had an incredible clarity, and knowing that Hashem, knowing Hashem, and knowing there's Hashkachat Hashem. So what's the question over here? Is Hashem amongst us or not? And the Ali Shur says something very deep. I think it's Rabbi for the Olam here. But Hayesh Hashem imanu im ayin. There's something called Yesh, and there's something called Ayin. Right? There's a form of Hashem. Hashem is Yesh me'ayin. He makes things from nothing. Yesh and Ayin. Ayin is a place that is beyond our comprehension in the world of Hashem. It's beyond all capable comprehension. And Yesh is a very lofty place of Hashem that is part of our comprehension. And they want to know the Hashkachas Hashem. Is Hashem with the midah of Yesh, or is Hashem with the midah of Ayin? which is a very, very deep, whatever, like the Hashkacha, how's HaKadosh Baruch Hu running the world with us? What's the Hashkacha with us? Where Hashem's response was Hashem got upset at them. Like, what are you thinking about? And the mashal is that a father has his son on his shoulders. And the son's riding on his son's shoulders. And the son is riding on his father's shoulders. Right? And the son says, oh, can I have that? And you're like, sure, mama. And you give him, no problem. Like, oh, can I have that? And like, sure, mama. No problem. Oh, Abba Katak, we have that? And kach. And then you bump into somebody and the kid looks at that somebody and goes, did you see my father anywhere? So the father says, you didn't see my father anywhere? So the father said, you'll see me now. And the father flung him off his shoulders. The kid fell on the floor and a dog came and bit him. Because all this time, everything is coming your way, and you forgot to realize that I'm with you the whole entire time. I'm with you the whole entire time. What do you mean is Hashem with? What do you mean? Did you see my father? Where do you think this came from? And everything that came your way, where do you think it came from? I'm carrying you the whole time. You're asking if I'm there, if I'm not there. What kind of question is that? And Rashi says that it's the mashal of a father flinging the son off the shoulders. By Noach it says Noach Elokim italech Noach, that Hashem walked with Noach. By Avraham it says Hitalech lefanai, Hashem tells Avraham, walk before me. By Klal Yisrael it says Acharei Hashem Elokechem tilchu, walk behind Hashem. It doesn't make a difference if it's behind or in front or with, but the idea is that you're together with Hashem and Hashem is with you. Whether it's in front or behind or with us, Hashem is with you. Now, there are machshava, and this is what he's leading at. There are thoughts in life that bring you closer to Hashem, and there are thoughts in life that bring you further away from Hashem. They could be even holy thoughts, but if it's not bringing you closer to Hashem, it's not something you should be involved with right now. The thoughts a person is supposed to have is thoughts that I'm together with Hashem. Because if it's not bringing you closer to Hashem, you could think that you're alone. Ani levad. Did you see my father anywhere? You get thrown off. It could be the craziest thoughts. It could be stuck in who knows what. It doesn't make a difference. The idea is that if it's bringing you to feel like you're alone, you're not supposed to be thinking that. And that was their message. They were trying to handle that, and it wasn't bringing them anywhere. That's not what you handle. Hashem is like, I am with you. I carried you. I'm with you. Kirat Yamsuf. Man, Ananei Kavod, Esel Makot, throughout the whole entire desert, you survive a whole nation, millions together. I'm with you. Your thoughts are bringing you closer to Hashem, not away. They were weak, and they realized they have to do tshuva. They did tshuva and they strengthened themselves. The Torah had emphasized, they left that place, and they came to Midbar Sinai. Because Kabbalah Torah, you have to have a good mind. You have to have a healthy mind, a strong mind, a mind that knows I'm not alone. That Hashem is with me with everything, and all my thoughts and everything that I think about has to be bringing me closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Amalek didn't want that. Those guys are willing to sacrifice. The mashal that the Mefarshim give, there was a ambatya, a bath that was bubbling water, bubbling. You ever make spaghetti? Like you make spaghetti, there's bubbling water, and then you empty out the spaghetti into the water, and it just stops sizzling for a minute, until it starts bubbling again. Amalek was spaghetti. They just wanted the water to stop bubbling for a little bit. And they were willing to jump in to show everybody, look, we can make it simmer. That's what they did. Amalek is that weak spot that stops you from simmering. Amalek gets in there, gets into the thought, and it takes the machshava away really where it belongs, really where it's supposed to be. A person should never feel like he's alone. That's rifyum yadan, that's weak. That's weak. Hashem. If that thought is not bringing you closer to Hashem, so it's Amalek. That's what Amalek's doing. That's what Amalek's doing in the world. In the Torah Kedosha, the pasuk says, it says, Lo yelecha beveisecha eifa veifa. You can't have fake measurements in your house. If you have, let's say, weights, right, and you have a 5-pound brick, it says 5 pounds in it, but it only weighs 3 pounds. And then somebody comes and they want to buy salt from you. Let me get 5 pounds worth of salt. No problem. You take the 5-pound brick, you give him 3 pounds worth of salt, and he just ripped him off big time, right? You just ripped him off big time. You get a lot more money. Everyone's paying for 5 pounds, and you have a lot more supply for the demand that's coming for you. Shmak. It says you can't have that. Gedolah v'ktana, big or small. Even shlema v'tzedek yelecha, you have to have justice in your house. Right? Eifa shlema v'tzedek yelecha lemani yirichu yamecha la'adama asher Hashem Elokecha noten lach. So you should have longevity on the land that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, because it's repulsive to Hashem. To'avat Hashem kol oseh eleh. And then it says, Zachor asher asa lecha Amalek b'derech b'tzeischa Mitzrayim. Remember what Amalek did. What shaykhis to Amalek? You have to have honest measures. You have to have honest weights in your house. Don't have anything, right? False weights. The scales have to be just. And remember what Amalek did to you. Sheker. What does that mean? It's a toiva. It's disgusting. The Gra says that even having those weights in your house, even if you don't use them, is repulsive to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even having them in your house is repulsive. But what's that sheker? What's that point? Where does that come from? Amalek is sheker. Sheker is darkness. It's fake. It's not true. It's not bringing you anywhere. That's Amalek. Don't have that in your house. So he brings the Rabbi. The Rabbi says, even in your mind, don't have fake scales. Don't entertain sheker. Don't live a life of lying. Sometimes you'll have like younger guys, they're debating just sheker, like they're both lying, right? People are just, everyone's like, or politics. Everyone's just debating sheker, like really to carry out the justice and the real system. It's all sheker. It's all sheker. You can't have that beveisecha over here. You can't have that sheker there. Even just having it there and not using it is wrong. That's why Amalek is brought in dafka over there. It's repulsive to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because the very existence of that is repulsive to Hashem. The rifyu yadayin is the weakness. That somebody has a weakness, he lets it go, he gets lost in something that's just silly, and Amalek kicks in. Klal Yisrael the Torah said that Klal Yisrael Yitzumi Ufidim. We left that weakness in order to become strong. We did a tshuva shlema to be mekabel the Torah and Torah's emes, and that's the truth. And things that bring you closer to Hashem, that's what we run after. And things that don't bring you closer to Hashem, we stay away from. Things that don't bring you closer to Hashem, we stay away from. And we'll end up with this. I'll tell you of my favorite Purim Machshavot over here is also from the Alishur of Revolba, but the Skula Ayom of Purim is Ahava, is love. And love is connection, but it's not only connection, it's the highest of high. There's Ahava of the Nes, there's Ahava of Torah, there's Ahavat HaBoreh, there's Ahavat of Klal Yisrael. It's Kriyas and Megillah, is Mamish Halal. We're learning the Megillah, the Olam's learning the Megillah, we Mamish see the Yad Hashem. We see the Yad Hashem. We see the hand of Hashem. We see how, right, Yeshua Hashem keheref ayin. Chick-chack. The whole process was a bunch of years, and then when the Gzeira happened, everything was already in place. Because the Makkah, there's always a refuah before the Makkah. So you set up the whole refuah, and then the Makkah, you learn the lesson, then we can clean it up right away. Clean it up right away. And so the Megillah is Mamash Halal. And then it does weiter love, Mishloach Manot, it's connection. You give something mechubad to your friends, right? Give something nice. You show that's the machshava behind it. Matanot le'evyonim. You give. It's all ava, mishta, simcha, right? Chayav adam levesume, right? You get nice. Everyone's singing. We're holding. Everyone's geshmak. Mamish, you're feeling the nest. You're living the love. Love is it's ahava. Ahava is a very high level. Ahava, love, is the highest level, right? We serve Hashem. The highest level you could serve Hashem is out of love. Love is romimut, is on a different plane. When somebody's in love, they're like you can't talk to them. You know it's dangerous. You could drown. Like they're drooling. Like when somebody's like in Gaga, it's like somewhere else. It's a different plane. It's a different madrega. It's a mashal. It's a mashal that's a much higher thing. Klal Yisrael, right, is Shoshana, right? We sing Shoshana at Yaakov. The Klal Yisrael is Shoshana. Shoshana is a rose, the most beautiful flower, and it is also spread in the world. It represents love, right? Because they get it from us, right? It represents something from love. We have this halacha of chayiv inish levesume ad lo yada, that a person has to be vesume, has to be mevusam, has to be nice until he doesn't know the difference between Aru Haman or Baruch Mordechai, right? He doesn't know the difference. What does that mean? Every day. Just on Purim. Right? What does that mean? It's a funny thing, you know. It's a funny thing. It's brought down lahalacha chayav adam levesume, and everybody, you know, everyone pulls out thumbs. You sleep a little bit, you drink this, you get knocked unconscious, you look in the side, Very geschmack. So you can't do the gematria, right? So together, file. You can't do the same gematria. Huh? No. What was the same gematria?
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah, very good. Right, Tetzaveh? Aru Haman and Baruch Mordechai is the same gematria. So until you can't figure out the number, I don't know. I can't do that now, right? But like, well, different things. Al-Shur says like this. It says, what does it mean? Chayav Adam levesume ad lo yadat. He doesn't know. Where's Haman alluded to in the Torah? Just in the Gemara and Megillah. Very good, right? Where's Haman? Right? Where's Haman in the Torah? What's the lashon over here? Haman min Torah minayin. Right? Where's Haman in the Torah? Because by Chet Eitz Hadas, Hashem said, Hamina etz, did you eat from the tree that I told you not to eat from? Hamina etz is the word Haman. Now, if you take a guess, what part of the tree did Haman represent? The Tov or the Ra? Right? He represents the epitome of Ra. And Esther and Mordechai on Purim fought the epitome of Ra, they were the epitome of Tov. And it was a fight, and they won. Because before the Chet of Eitz Hadas, so there was Ra and there was Tov, but they weren't, like, you knew what was Ra, and you knew what was Tov. And ever since the Chet of the Eitz Hadas, everything has Tov and Ra mixed inside. So like we need like heavy filtration systems. We always have to filter. And in everything that you're doing, there's a combination of good and bad and should I and shouldn't. And Sheva Pamim Yipol Tzadik, why should he fall? Like what? And like just, everything is just a mixture. Oh, I'll go here, I'm doing a mitzvah. But then there's like Lashon Hara there, and like, but if I do it, this is gonna, like, you have all these cheshbonos all the time. Like, how am I supposed to do? Because ever since Chet Eitz Hadas, there's a mixture of Tov and Ra. And Haman was that Ra, and Mordechai and Esther is that Tov. And they succeeded. And we want to get back to the Madrega of just no more Ra. The no more Ra, only Tov. And when it's only Tov, it's only love. Chayav Adam levesume ad delo yada. We ate from the Eitz Hadas. We don't want that anymore. We want that out. We want the Eitz Hadas out. We don't want that Ra inside of us. We just want the Tov. We just want the love. And Chayav Adam levesume ad delo yada. I don't want the Eitz Hadas in me anymore. And a person drinks till he sees it's just kula Tov. Doesn't make a difference. Now I have an eye that I could see that the bad of Haman and the good of Mordechai, it's all Tov because it's all from Hashem, and I know it's all Hashem. Ad lo yada. I don't want the Eitz Hadat in me with everything mixed up. I want to get the lo yada. I want to get the dat out of the Eitz Hadas out of myself. And therefore, Chayav Adam levesume, because Esther, which is Milashon Hester, to conceal, revealed to us on Purim that Hashem is there all the time. Amalek, where Haman is from, try to take it away from us and say, Levad, you're alone. Hashem's not with you. Hashem's not with you. And we're like, no. Hashem, we tsumir fidim. I'm not weak anymore. I'm done with this weakness. I'm strong and I'm mighty. Vani lo levad, I'm not alone. Hashem is with me. Hashem is with me. And therefore on Purim, I just drink the nichnas yain yotze sod, and I get the Eitz Hadas ad lo yada. And then I only see kula tov. And I'm full of love, I'm full of connection, my thoughts are pure, I'm giving evyonim, I'm giving chaverim, I'm giving mishloch manot, I'm having a suda with my chaverim, and we're all together just connecting to Hashem. We're not alone, אנחנו לא לבד. עד דלא ידע, שהוא ידע שהוא לא לבד והכל מהשם. יישר כוחכם.
Wow.